All right, what's up, guys? Zach, I'm here with my buddy Hussein. How do you say your last name?
Soliman.
Soliman. Yeah. Okay, I know I was gonna screw that up. For someone with a hard last name, I shouldn't be screwing people's names up. But
You're good. You're good.
so this is your third month in the business right now, right? Third
Correct.
full month.
It's like 110 days in there. Maybe.
110 days. Who's counting though, right?
It's gone by fast.
So 110 days in the business. What were your first? You did like 40 and 50,000, something like those.
40, 50, and 50.
Okay. Yeah. So how did you find the business? What like how did you first hear about it, and then what made you decide to go all in on doing insurance?
So I was doing Uber for like the last 2 years, and then I got this opportunity to have a fruit business. So if anyone's heard of Kroger, the actual fresh fruit that's sliced for you, you can literally open the container and eat it right away.
That's like what I get because I'm lazy.
Yeah, exactly. So I cut that for 6
shit.
months in the back of Kroger with a sweater in the cold, right? And I was making like $1,400 a week from that, and I would drive Uber on the weekend. And some weeks I would tap out $2,000. I was working like, I hate to say it, like a slave. Like, you know, I didn't have a life. It was like 60, 70 hours a week. And like when you work that much, your mood is so shitty, especially if it's physical labor, you know?
Yeah.
So and I was talking to my family. I'm a big family man. I usually go to work and I come home and hang out with mom and dad and the siblings. Ever since college, everyone goes their own way after college, right?
Yeah.
They get married, they're more into their career. Like your social network gets smaller. It's just the default of life, right? Mm-hmm. So it was basically my family. My younger brother was like, "Hey, dumbass, people are posting on Instagram. They're making $7,000 to $10,000 a week. They're not smarter than you." And
your younger brother saw it.
Yeah,
okay.
He was posting it on Instagram, and I blew him off for months. But then, as you get older and you're working without a bigger purpose in life, you're like, okay, I don't have a wife yet. I don't have any kids. I didn't go to med school. Like, what am I doing with my life? And I was like, what the fuck? So I was like, there has to be something better than this, right? This is not sustainable, right? And my mental health is declining. I'm sure I'm not balling, but I'm not broke, right? But my purpose isn't really fulfilled. So I decided I put my 2 weeks in for my job at the Kroger, and I went to Florida for a couple weeks. I had like maybe $6,000 in my bank account, and when I went to Florida, I was like, "Fuck it, I haven't done anything." I literally worked, Zach, from the only day I had off from like December 1st of last year to like May was Christmas. Mm-hmm. Kroger doesn't close; it's 24 hours, and I was the only person working. It was my business, right? So I was like, "All right, man."
Those people are independent contractors that do that. Okay,
and then you get 58% of the sales, and then the fruit cost is like a third, and then the containers is like 5% or something. It's a very good business, right? If you can monopolize that, right? Have a bunch of locations and have a bunch of people working for you. Yeah. Just cash flow is essentially like a real estate type of deal thing, right? But I didn't have the money to go to like 10 Krogers and franchise all of them, right?
Were you working for someone that got you to do that? Like they were in charge of the franchise, or you just independently reached out to like a local Kroger?
He was in charge of the franchise, and he was giving me $1,400 a week. And he was getting a little bit every week. But to him, it was worth it because he had a bunch of locations.
Got it. So, and he was paying you as manual labor, essentially.
Essentially, yeah. It was like $180, $200 a day. So,
got it.
And no matter what the Kroger sold that day, I got paid that amount. So I was kind of okay with that. It didn't matter how it performed, but it was good enough for him, so good for both parties. So I put my 2 weeks in, and I went to Florida, and then I did the course, and I was open-minded.
So during that, your little brother introduced you to insurance or to Family First Life specifically, or how'd you get connected with? You work with Mahmoud. How'd you get connected with him?
So my younger brother grew up with Mahmoud. Like they went to school together.
Got it.
And he was like, Mahmoud's doing it, and like they're all making money. And like he was my little brother's very encouraging. He was like, "You can do this, dude. You're smart enough." And I was like, "Probably." But at that point, I was just so sick of fucking working 7 days a week. Excuse my language, but I was like, "All right, let's try it." And I'm usually pretty stubborn. Like I think I'm a neurotic person. I don't want to sound like a narcissist, but I feel like when you think you're smart, you think you have everything figured out, and you're kind of closed-minded in some avenues of life. But that was like the first time I just put my guard down, and I was like, I'm going to try something new. I'm tired of this life, like this work life, essentially. Mm-hmm. So I went to Florida, and I came back and did the class, and then I passed whatever the test, and then I think it was July 1st. It was like my first day at the office with them.
Got it. In the Kentucky office. So
Kentucky office.
What year you graduate? When did you graduate college? How long ago was that?
2015.
Okay, got it. So you did that for 5 years or for
after college, I worked with my uncle in a grocery store, and we had like a booth store. And like when I was trying my hardest, I would sell like 60 to 80 phones a month, right? And that was really good because it was not in like the store wasn't on a main road. It was like secluded in a neighborhood, and the population was essentially the same people coming in and out, right? And I was still able to sell 60 to 80 phones a month, right? Like I would tell them, hey Zach, talk to me, Zach. What kind of carrier do you have, man? How much you pay in a month, for example?
Yeah.
So it was really my natural intuition. I was good at selling crap.
Yeah.
Right. But I never was presented with anything like Family First Life, right?
But you always wanted to also, like, in the back of your mind, go to medical school throughout this process,
Absolutely.
too, right?
Like I took the MCAT 2 times. I was waitlisted in like 2017 or something, but never really panned out. It just didn't happen. But life happens, right? So did that for 3 or 4 years, and then I started importing headphones and beauty products from China and selling on Amazon and eBay for like 2-3 years.
So you're always hustling, doing something.
Oh yeah, I'm a natural born entrepreneur, right?
Yeah.
That's just I'm gifted with that. I'm not trying to brag or anything like that, but everyone in life, like Zach, you're good at A, I'm good at B, he's good at C. That's just how the nature of our existence, right?
Yeah.
And I've personally feel like I'm gifted as like a hustler, as a hard worker. I have a very strong work ethic. Like the first month at Mahmoud's office, I was working 7 days, 80 hours, right? It took me a little bit of time to like adjust to this concept of a script or like talking to people on the phone, and never like, it's always been face-to-face direct sales. Or I've had eBay or Amazon as the middleman, right? But I've never introduced someone like, hey, I'm Mr. Suleiman calling you from the Benefits for Veterans office. I've never done that before.
Yeah.
So it took me a little bit of time just to get used to it. But I didn't find it to be too difficult, right? And its volume will always be greater than luck, right?
Yeah.
It will always, that's an objective metric, right? I mean, I didn't sell anything last Wednesday or Thursday, and on Friday I sold one policy, and then on Monday, on Tuesday, I didn't sell anything, but Wednesday and Thursday and Friday of this week, I did good.
Yeah.
So, but he told me you have to ride the highs and lows in this, right?
Right.
But I know, like, week 1 of this month, I IP'd 17 grand. And this week is going to be a little bit lower, but it's going to average out next week and the week after, so we're fine.
Yeah, that's what I was always taught. What I always understood is that you can have a bad day, you can have a bad week, but if you work consistently, you're not gonna have a bad month.
You're not.
You know, because like, and you're a smart guy. Like the law of averages plays out, and I always looked at that. I'm like, okay, like I was never the best closer. I was like, if I do 10 presentations, I'll close like 4 of them.
No matter
good.
what, on
yeah,
average.
but like I'll close 4 if I get through 10 presentations. Now that 40% could happen, like, and they could all be slammed towards the back end of the month. But it'll work out as long as I keep everything the same up here.
Yes, that's the
You know,
hardest
and I think
problem.
sometimes people are like, oh, like it's not going my way. Like I got something change, and they just spiral down.
Yeah.
You know, and you said you're an overthinker. Like, what have you done when you're doing this to not overthink when you're having a bad day? Like, how do you keep moving forward and not get too emotional? Because I feel like the first couple times you came in here, you get pissed when people would say something to you.
Oh, yeah.
Like, I remember the first month you were here. Yeah, you'd fight back with them.
Yeah.
And I remember there was another guy that was here with you, and he was like bragging about he liked to argue with the clients. I'm like, dude, why argue with them? Just let them be right and make the sale anyway.
Yeah.
Like, you can be right or you can be rich. Like, who cares? Don't be right. Just,
Dude, that you can be right or be rich. That stuck
Like,
in my head. You said that.
what changed your mindset where you were like confrontational versus like not trying to be right, just trying to make a sale or provide the right service for the client?
I think after the first month, I calmed down a lot because I was like, okay, this is real, and I don't need to be fighting with anyone anymore. I can just move on to the next person. I think it was kind of an experience thing, 1. And then 2, in the beginning, I was kind of like an asshole, I think. And when somebody would yell at me on the phone, I would take it personal too much.
Yeah.
But now I don't care. I don't give a shit anymore. Like, hey, if this goes my way, for sure, that's awesome. Like, if I can make a sale out of this, but if there's a 1% chance that I can make a sale, I'll keep the conversation going, right?
Yeah.
But now I'm just like, okay, Zach does not want to buy. He's just talking out of his ass. I'm going to just be like, hey, I have an appointment with another vet. If you have any questions or concerns, or if you're serious about this, just give me a call. You have my credentials.
Yeah.
So I just move on. But at first, I didn't really think about it that way. Again, that comes with the learning curve, right? So Zach catches on to these concepts maybe faster than Hussein, or Hussein catches on faster than Zach. Each person has these natural abilities that they're born with, and when they start something new, they may be good at A, but B they suck at. So I was very like angry in the beginning because I wasn't making every single sale. I was like, I wanted every single sale, but is that realistic? No. It's not. That's not how it's going to work. But we get paid very good, right? The commission's incredible, and that didn't really internalize. And then after you get some deposits, it doesn't make you still want to be consistent and still keep your foot on the gas, but you calm down. And then I think part of it, I was really anxious at first because it's so new, right?
Yeah.
And I didn't have that much money in my bank account. I didn't. So I was like taking it really personal.
And you tried a lot of different things, and you didn't want to fail at something, right? Because you're like, I've tried all these things.
Dude, I'm 31.
Yeah, so you're 31. Like, you've tried a bunch of different things. You start doing this, like, and I know, like you said, your family and your community, like, very tight knit. you know,
Yeah.
brothers, sisters, parents hang out a lot. Did you have any pushback from your family? Because I think a lot of people who are watching this probably experience like either they live together or they have like a good relationship with their parents and they take what they say and they're like, well, I don't want to disappoint my parents. Did you have any of that, or were your parents totally supportive, or what was that
Like
dynamic
my mom,
like?
she's a sweet lady. She's like, I just pray the best for you, right? But my dad
Yeah.
was like, there's no way you made $15,000
Yeah.
this week. And then I showed him my bank account. He was like, Hussein, that's a lot of money.
Yeah.
He was hyped, and like I
Yeah.
felt like a kid. I made him proud, you know. It was like awesome.
So he was proud right
He was-
away.
yeah, when he saw the deposit, he's like, Hussein.
Yeah.
And then he was like, send me some money. I was like, Hussein, I got it. He was hyped, and like that's so fucking priceless.
So you
right?
sent your dad some money?
Yeah, hell yeah.
That's cool. That's awesome, dude.
Yeah, dude, my father is disabled and my mother barely speaks English, right? And I'm
Got
the
it.
eldest son in our culture. If you're the son, you gotta do it, right? You got to. It is what it is. So
So your dad hasn't worked for a while.
my dad's been disabled for 30 or 40 years.
Got it. Your mom work or no?
My mom, absolutely not.
Got it.
She just like stays at home and takes care of, well, we're grown up now, but
So it's a lot of pressure on you to
dude,
make
like,
this work.
like
you're the breadwinner.
I'm the breadwinner for a lot of fucking mouths, you know, excuse
Yeah.
my language. So but I think that's a good and a bad thing. Like maybe like I said earlier in the podcast, like I haven't gotten married yet. I'm 31.
Yeah.
Now this is incredible, right? My finances have never been in such a robust position, right? And if when you guys, whoever's listening to this, if you can be open-minded and just try it for 90 days, right? There is no cap with this. Like, I don't know how many direct downlines, and I know you're very successful, Zach, but you can still keep going technically, right?
Oh yeah. Keep
There's
going.
no limit,
Yeah.
right? You can have an agency that IPs 100 million in a month,
Yeah.
theoretically, right?
Yeah,
That's
for
possible,
sure.
right?
For sure.
That's incredible. Like, I've tried so many different things and explored so many different opportunities. I've never seen something that's like, I can actually do it with my limit, with such a low cost to enter, right? Like
Yeah.
I said, I had like $4,000. After I paid my rent and bought groceries and I came back from Florida, I like maybe 2,500, and then I bought like 20 states, and now you have to wait for the deposits. And I was texting Mahmoud, hey man, can you spot me a couple of deposits until they come? He did one. So, but it was tough at first, and I didn't have money to buy leads. Like
Yeah.
I didn't, and all the first 30,000 I deposited was all old leads. Anyone watching this, I'm not that smart. Like I have an incredible work ethic, I will say that.
Yeah.
But we have a plug and play system where you come in, you work hard, and you will be rewarded. The biggest thing is just the mindset, right? That's I'm not the most strong-minded person in a sense, but I think my work ethic is what helps me a lot too.
Yeah, and I think like what helped. I've changed a lot since I was new doing this, and I remember when I was new, like more introverted. My self-confidence was certainly a lot lower.
Yeah.
You know, I didn't like speaking to people, even in groups of people. Like I just was kind of cool hanging back. And I've like learned to be a business person. I look at myself differently now than I did when I started. And I think a lot of that, like going from not being good at something and then figuring it out and then being good at something and getting paid for it is like a big validator. It makes you
Makes you feel like
you feel good.
accomplished something.
Yeah.
Like you earned that.
It
Right?
builds up your self-esteem
Yeah, absolutely.
in a really healthy way. And people ask me all the time, like, how do you get confidence? It's like, dude, go from sucking at something to being good at it and then teach other people how to do the same thing. Like you start to feel confident about yourself as a
It
person.
makes you happier. Like
Yeah.
I'm happier these days than I was 120 days ago.
Yeah.
Like I've always loved life, and life is awesome. But like when you have something like a good job and you feel like, hey, I'm doing something, like I'm doing well at something, and I've come a long way, right? Even from day one to now, like I've progressed. Like I feel good as a man, right? Like I don't know how to say it in the best way, but it's satisfying in a sense.
Yeah.
It does uplift your self-esteem. And I think before this, I don't want to say I was depressed, but I wasn't very happy with, it was just like go to Kroger, then drive Uber, right?
Yeah.
I didn't even really want to.
There was no light at the end
There
of the
was no
tunnel.
light. It was just
Yeah.
a hole, like in my face, like that. I was like, okay, but now it's like there's so much opportunity now. And then once you build a team or you really
Yeah.
set up this passive income, it's incredible. Like,
Yeah, and dude, I echo that. Like, I think that the process of doing what we do, like teaching people how to sell, working with people, getting to know new agents, like connecting with people, getting to have conversations with people like you. For me, the weirdest feeling I had was when I sold my business, 2021. Right after I sold it, I thought I was gonna be so relieved when I saw the money hit the bank account. It was like the opposite, dude. I was like, what the heck? Like, now what?
now what are you gonna do with your day? Like
Now what?
Now
Like,
you're
I'm
wondering.
like, now
right?
what? And then I was like, I almost felt like I was about to have a crisis for a minute, and then I'm like, dude, I'm just gonna go back to work. Like I'm gonna just do the same thing I did before.
You have to have a purpose, right?
Dude, it wasn't the money. I realized the money didn't like fulfill me. It was doing something that felt
Yeah.
like I was doing something like I felt like I was impacting other people was more fulfilling, and working and the process of building things was way more fulfilling than the money was.
Yeah.
You know, so like I noticed that for me, it was like I think that you're happiest when you're accomplishing things and kicking ass, taking names, building stuff.
Yeah,
you know,
exactly. As a man, you're climbing that ladder of life, right? Like,
Yeah.
you know, you can get on the phone and make $1 to $2 grand a day
Yeah,
easily.
easy.
And I think I'm getting more confident to say I can too, right?
Yeah.
But now I want to build something. Like I have two downlines, Isabella and Gabriella, coming on. I'm so excited for them, right? Like Gabriella, she works a job where she cleans homes and she makes like nothing a week,
Yeah.
right? And she told me, Hussein, I live paycheck to paycheck. And that crushed my heart. I'm like, man, we're gonna get you paid,
Yeah.
right? And then it was hard for me to get her to believe it because a lot of people in society can't fathom the thought of making $1,000 a day consistently.
Right.
That's right. My grandfather, he had some businesses. I don't think he made $1,000 a day. No way, not even close. And then my uncle, he's a rich man. He worked so hard to build wealth in his life. He tore his back up, like for real. He did, and I respect that man a lot. But now I have the luxury of sitting in a chair with my AC in my office in downtown Lexington. I'm very grateful. I don't know if it's because I had to work so hard until age 31, but like anyone watching this opportunity is the best opportunity you will ever encounter in your existence. If you don't want to go to school for 10 years and become a physician or something like that, just the concept of startup cost, right?
Yeah.
If you want to buy car washes, where are you going to get the money to do that, right?
right.
And if you want to take loans, if you take loans and the business fails, you're in debt, right? If you
Yeah.
come in here with $2 grand and you felt, fuck it, you lost $2 grand, but you don't have 200 grand in debt.
Yeah.
That's a way to think about it. So
That's the way I thought when I was a new agent. I was like, I already don't have any money. Like, what do I have to lose, really?
Yeah.
Like, I'm gonna spend a little money on leads. Like, I don't have someone to buy me leads. That was okay. Like, I'm like, I already don't have money. So, like, what's the worst case scenario? Get another credit card and make my credit worse? Like, it's already bad. So who cares? I'll figure it out later. Yeah. And I think you have a little bit of. Some people are built have a little bit of belief in themselves where you're like, I'm just gonna figure it out. No matter what happens, I'm just gonna figure it out. You know, and I think that mindset of like, no matter what happens, because in this business it can be up and down, like you mentioned before. Mm-hmm. And I remember just always going like you have to teach yourself, like whether it's a great day, bad day, average day, treat them all the same and have the same routines in place to do the same thing every day. It's like, dude, every day I wake up in the morning, wake up at 5 o'clock, I run 5 miles, I work out, I go in the sauna, and I shower, see my kids, and go to work. And I'm here by 8:30. Yeah. Like every day. Like if I don't have routines like that, my day gets screwed up, right? So and you mentioned in the beginning you were working like 60, 80 hours. What are some of the things you put in place to make sure you had a good schedule and good routine so that you had good mindset, but also were working enough hours?
Yeah, so I'd wake up, like you said, around 5, 6. I'm not a perfect by the numbers type of guy, but I'd wake up, go to the gym, eat something, and then go to the office, dial really hard for 3-4 hours, and then we'd get lunch most days. But I'm the type of guy, like I'll dial for 2-3 hours, go outside, take a break, compartmentalize my time.
Walk around.
Go walk around, just breathe, right? And
Yeah.
If you get yelled at enough times, I'll throw my headset. But it's part of it, right? Yeah. I mean,
how many dials do you typically make a day? Do you make if you average it out for the month with what you're selling, you're making about 2 sales a day, right?
Yeah.
If you you have some good days where you make 4 or 5 sales, some days where you make 0. So you make on average about 2 a day if you're selling about 50 a month. How many dials do you typically make a day to get your presentations?
At least 150 leads, and those people I call them 3 times.
Got it.
So
okay,
like
it's 450.
450.
500,
Some days
600,
more. Like
yeah.
sometimes I get there at 7:30, and if I do my workout quick and I'm feeling it, I get a good nice rest. I'm not perfect, right? Some days maybe 125, but some days 225.
So the days where you're making 300, 400, 500 dials a day, how many presentations do you usually get out of that? And then from presentations, how many do you typically close? Like what does your average look like?
If I can get 8 presentations, I'm really, really confident I'll at least close 1, most days 2.
Yeah. And that's the beautiful thing about this business is I think a lot of people think I have to be 8 for 8. I'm like, dude, you can, if you suck and you sell 1 out of 20, all that means is you just have to make, instead of making 4 dials a day, you might have to make 800 dials a day to sell 1 a day. But you can make up for your skill set by
with
just
your hard work,
it.
with your work ethic, right? It doesn't matter. You don't
That's
have to be a
when I was
born
new.
salesman. You don't have to be a natural salesman.
Yeah.
You don't.
You can make up for so much lack of skill by just putting more work in, which makes this business equal for everyone because you can outwork your lack in skill and then you get better over time.
You do, and you get more confident. You're more calm on the phone. The objections become so much easier. When at first it's tough to ask somebody for their social security number and their account routing number. That's a big deal to most of us, right?
Yeah.
Personally, I wouldn't give my social out over the phone. I've never have, but
Yeah.
I've never been exposed to this type of thing where I fill a request out, somebody calls me, right? So they do know they filled out the request. So
Yeah.
that's this concept I didn't get before this, but it's telesales, right? That's how this would work. That's how it works.
What about, I mean, I know when you said you started, like you had some pressure in that you were paying for a lot of your family's expenses. Like your dad probably had some social security money come in, but small. So you pay the rest of your family's bills, sounds like, right?
Well, so my dad got a little of inheritance, and his brother has been like holding it, and he's paying a little bit of the bills.
Paying a little bit.
But there's still, if I showed you my Zelle right now,
Yeah, you pay the excess bills.
I pay so much stuff like for the house.
So you had a little bit of money when you started. You're paying some bills for your family. You have your own bills.
Yeah.
When you started investing in leads, what was that mindset like? Because most people that haven't been in business before haven't had to have inventory, haven't had to spend $1,000, $2,000 a week. What do you spend a week on leads now?
So right now I'm spending $2,000.
Spend $2,000 a week on leads, right?
Yeah.
If I told you before you started this, hey man, you're spending $2,000 a week in 2 months, you'd be like, what the hell are you talking about, right? You'd probably be like, you're crazy.
Yeah, I'd be like, Zach, you're crazy, but I didn't know anything about the business, right?
So how did you go from 110 days ago being like, I would never spend $2,000 a week, you're insane, to now every week like it's clockwork? Like how's the mindset shifted to where you feel comfortable spending that amount of money on leads?
So when you start making sales and you see like, hey, I just made $3,000 off the sale.
Yeah.
Wow. And I was making them. I'm not saying old leads are impossible or excuse me. I'm not saying that it's easier to sell on new leads, but if you can sell on older leads, it's a little bit easier to sell on a new lead that no one has called. And like if I fill something out today, it's already on my mind, and if Zach calls me, I'm more likely to purchase it because it's on my mind today. So I had that train of thought. I was like, okay, with new leads, it should be a little bit easier. And then the ROI, Zach, that's the biggest thing that confirmed, hey, I should invest $2,000 on this.
Yeah.
Because, okay, I'm going to send Ronnie $2,000 and I'm going to sell $10,000 to $20,000. Tell me a business where you can do that.
No,
where you can
there's not
buy,
one.
let's say this remote right here. Like if I could buy $2,000 worth of this, can I turn this into $10,000?
Never.
How?
Never.
It will
Yeah.
never, ever happen,
Never.
sir.
Yeah.
Never, ever.
Never. Yeah. And I remember, and the thing that happens is you start buying more leads too. Like you mentioned before, you'd get mad at certain clients that said no when you first started.
Yeah.
What I realized, like once I started getting enough leads, like the ones that would be weird, I would just hang up on them. And I'd be like,
Yes,
dude, I have so
ne-
many leads, like next. And I wouldn't be mad at them. I wouldn't be fighting with them. I didn't care if they bought or not. I was just trying to figure out within like 5 minutes, are you buying or not buying? So that if you're not buying, I can hang up on you and call the next person.
Exactly.
But I think some people don't buy enough leads, so they spend $500 on leads. And they're like, oh crap, I have to make 5 sales from these leads. That's a lot out of $500 in lead spend.
500 is not enough.
Not enough,
It's
right?
not
So
enough.
every person you're on the phone with, they're sitting there for an hour trying to convince Miss Smith, who told you 45 minutes ago there's no shot she's buying,
Yeah, and then
why she should buy, right? And then you're just stressed out because you don't have the ability to be assumptive, the ability to, hey, like, oh, I don't think I need that. Okay, sounds good, man. Bye. Boom. Next. You know, like you don't have the
Yeah.
ability to do that if you only have a finite amount of leads.
Yeah.
But you have, like you said, 150 leads a day coming in because you're spending 2,000 a
No,
week.
it's not.
Or
No, it's 35 to 50 a day.
50. Okay, so 50 leads a day coming in. So 300 leads a week coming in.
Yeah.
You're like, I got a lot of damn leads to get through. Like, if you're not buying, I got to get to the next one, right?
Yeah.
And I think that's the simplest part of our business that people miss is like the more leads you have, the less you have to beg people to buy, the less policies you write that you shouldn't write, the more people stay on the books, the more good business you write, the more money you make, right?
Wow.
It makes such a big difference if you just have the right amount of leads instead of trying to squeeze blood from a rock with a finite and small amount of leads.
Yeah. Because some people tell me, like I was talking to somebody at the Lexington office. He's like, bro, I only want to spend $800 a week. And I was like, okay,
Yeah.
man, how many leads are you going to get? Like, and then like you said, in life, generally speaking, if I don't want to buy this remote, there's nothing anyone can really do to change my mind.
Right.
And that's it. It's over. That's it. I don't care. So like if you talk to Mr. Smith or Miss Henderson and they don't want to buy, it's game over.
Yeah.
Like that's it. There's nothing I can do really to change their mind, right? But like you said, if I have 100 Mr. Smiths to call,
You're like, cool.
somebody's gonna buy, right? And even if you close one policy a day, like guys, it's an incredible ROI. You're
Yeah.
never gonna find anything like that. And if you really do close 5 policies a week, 6 policies a week, let's say on the low end it's $500.
Yeah.
When it's way more than that most of the time. And you spend $2,000 on leads, you're still making $1,000 a week, which is not a good. We make way more than that.
Yeah.
That was bad what I just said, but
But even if people make 4 sales a week and they're spending 1,000, they're netting $2,000 a week. It's like you're still making $100,000 a year. You know, and then you get better over time and you be more efficient.
Yeah.
The other thing I've always like challenged people with leads is like they're like, I only want to use your guys' example. I only want to spend $800 on leads. You're like, okay, so say you spend $800 on leads. Our average commission is $1,300. So you make one sale, your leads are covered. You'll make a little bit extra, right? Like you'll have a little bit of net profit there. If you buy $1,600 worth of leads, let's say instead of getting 100 leads, you get 200. Dude, you only have to make one more sale to cover that out of the extra 100 leads you get.
And then you have 99
You have 99 extra chances that you wouldn't have, and one more sale breaks you even on it.
Yeah.
So it's like you have double the amount of leads, and one more sale makes you break even on the cost. It's like, why would you not spend the extra $800 to literally double the amount of leads you have in, and you only have to make one more sale?
Yeah.
Because you do math on it, right? Like 2 out of 100 is 2%, right?
2%, yeah.
So you got to make 2% to on that. But if you do 2 out of 200, 1%, right? Like, dude, you have to close 1% and you double your chances. Like, it makes no sense to be cheap on leads when it's such a small amount more of leads, and it's such a small, and you have to make one more sale to
You
break
get so
even.
many more leads for the amount of money, extra money you're investing, right?
Right.
That's how you're gonna duplicate the money it's gonna keep compounding your snowball. It's a snowball effect, right? My $2,000 is turning into $10,000 every week most weeks.
And you want to give yourself as big of a margin for error as possible, right? Because when you're new, you're going to screw up. So get more leads than you think you need, and then you can make mistakes. You don't have to be worried about each person. If someone doesn't buy, all good. Just keep moving.
You don't care as much because you have so many more chances, and you're like, I have to get through this, right? I can't just stay on the phone with Zach for an hour, and I know this guy's not going to buy. I have 100 more people to call, right?
Yeah.
In my opinion, I think anyone even that's listening to this, 800, 1,200, in my opinion, is not enough. I think I starting at 2 was kind of, I didn't have that much money either from the jump, but I understood the concept as like a businessman and a
you
hustler.
build up to it, right?
Yeah.
You're like, okay, spend 500. I remember when I was there, I spent 500. I made a commission. I made 2 sales. I got like 2,000 back. I'm like, okay, let me spend 1,000. Made like 3 sales, got that money back, paid some bills. Then I got to like 1,200, then 1,500, then 2,000. Then I was like, okay, cool. Like I just kept reinvesting back and building up my lead bank account. Yeah. What's your 2 months in? You've written about $100,000 in your first 100 days.
About 150.
150,000
HCMS, and then
okay, 150,000 your first 100 days. So what's your goal, for the rest of this year and next year? And like, what do you want to do, personal production, agency wise? What are your goal numbers to hit?
So I'm hoping to close 50,000 this month, and then 50,000 next month. But I'm gonna ramp up my lead spend, and I want to close personal production 1 million in 2025.
Ooh, I like it. $1 million's a good number.
1 million, it's beautiful. It sounds so
sounds
sexy.
great.
Yeah. But that's the goal there. And then I want to build a team, right?
Yeah.
It becomes like Mahmoud was telling me, is like I can confidently sell 1 to 2 policies a day, and I know I can keep stacking up my bank account, but it's more meaningful to change people's lives. And like as a human, you want, like you go through these hierarchy of needs or like hierarchy of purpose in life. You want to feel like you're doing something new, contributing to society. And like, if I can help Zach, if I can help Gabrielle or Isabella or Stacy or whatever, I love that. Like, I personally, as a human being, I do find joy in seeing others happy and changing their lives, right? Especially somebody that was an aspiring physician. It's good stuff. Like, it's a good thing. It's a good quality to have.
It's the same thing. It's just in a different way. You're still helping people. It's just instead of helping people in the hospital, you're helping people by helping them make more money, helping people put life insurance in place and take care of their families. But it's still serving people at the end of the day.
Absolutely.
So, awesome, man. Well, hey, thanks for doing this with me, dude. Thanks for sharing your story, and I appreciate everything you're doing for the team, man.
Thank you for having me, Zach.